You're listening to the Neighborhood Bulldog, where the porch light's always on and the maroon runs deep. I'm Scott Neighbors, and this is your home for real Mississippi State sports talk. Around here, we don't chase headlines. We break down the wins, the losses, the culture, and what it really means to be a Bulldog. If it matters in Starkville, it matters here. So pull up a chair, grab a drink, and welcome to the neighborhood. Hail State. Welcome back to the Neighborhood Bulldog here on a Friday as we get ready for Mississippi State baseball to take on the Ole Miss Rebels in Oxford starting tonight, this evening. On Tuesday night, Mississippi State dominated Southern Miss at Duty Noble Field for a 12-0 run rule victory that was more of an inter-squad practice than a matchup between ranked teams. Mississippi State absolutely demolishing Southern Miss on Tuesday night. And for the second straight season, Southern Miss beats Mississippi State in Hattiesburg. Everyone gets all excited and yellow, and then gets absolutely run off the field and run ruled in Starkville. Second year in a row that has happened. The game on Tuesday night was pretty much a bullpen game from the get-go for both teams, as Southern Miss used 9 different pitchers to Mississippi State's 7. State fans were holding their breath as Chris Billingsley got the start for the Bulldogs. And up to this point in the season, he had not been very good. Too many control issues and just couldn't really keep it in the zone there, but could kind of tell he's got good movement, good velo on his pitches. He's got good stuff, just not really able to control it. So after getting beat in Hattiesburg, Mississippi State fans really wanted to win this ball game. And then we get the news Chris Billingsley was starting, and I think that made a lot of people nervous. Well, what does he do? He goes out, gives you 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, and 0 walks. Exactly what you needed to see from a guy like Billingsley if he's going to contribute and help Mississippi State at all this season, which he is going to have to do. Mississippi State is not the kind of bullpen that can shut people down and just not pitch them. They're going to have to get their confidence level up, and they are going to have to find times that they can throw. So far, up to this game, we had not seen that from Billingsley, but he did what he needed to do on Tuesday night versus a talented Southern Miss lineup. Jack Bauer, Jack Gleason, Parker Rhodes, Dane Burns, Maddox Webb, and Maddox Miller all came in and combined to give up just 5 hits, no runs, and 10 Ks the rest of the way through the game. The story for me on Tuesday night was the pitching. Bullpen game, you had a lot of guys throw that may not throw every game. And the key stat that stands out to me is Mississippi State pitching with all those different pitchers used, 7 different pitchers, did not walk a single batter in the entire game. Now, granted, it was a run rule game, so it ended early, but to have 7 different pitchers and to not walk a single batter, that is extremely impressive and exactly what you wanted to see before you head into this weekend. Offensively, every single starter in the lineup for Mississippi State got at least 1 hit in the ballgame. Led by Aiden Till in the leadoff spot, going 4 for 4 with 4 runs and 2 RBIs. Garrick Fry with a good night, 2 for 2, 1 run and 2 RBIs. Ryder Woodson continuing to swing a hot bat, 2 for 2, 1 run, 2 RBIs. And then Jacob Parker, 1 for 3, 1 run, but 3 RBIs as he hit a laser line drive home run just over Atkinson Plaza in right field. Not much launch angle on it, just hit it on the absolute nose of the ball. Straight line drive for the home run there. Shows you the power that he has as a true freshman. And usually, true freshmen fade out as you get into SEC play. Not Jacob Parker. Jacob Parker has raised his batting average and raised his stats and improved as he's gotten into SEC play. So you don't see that very often from a true freshman, but Jacob Parker doing what he has to do to get things done there. Overall, this game was a game Mississippi State needed. Mississippi State fans needed it. The game in Hattiesburg, Southern Miss jumped out to a 5-0 lead, and Mississippi State looked like they were just sleepwalking before ultimately coming back, taking the lead, and then immediately giving the lead back on two passed balls where you allowed a run to score each time. And that's ultimately what Southern Miss had to have to beat you. Um, Games like Tuesday is why you don't talk too much before you're done playing a certain team for the year. You don't talk a lot when you get a midweek win in front of a record crowd due to two pass balls and then go to their field and get run ruled. And Southern Miss has done that 2 seasons in a row now. So, again, there was a lot of talk of, oh, well, we're Southern Miss. We can hang with the big boys. We beat Alabama. Arkansas State beat Arkansas. Well, Tuesday night showed you what usually happens, and it's not a fluke. Um, that's just the way of life for 2 seasons in a row now. I do think Southern Miss is a good team. They faltered a little bit as they got into Sun Belt Conference play, but um, they have kind of cleaned up their act a little bit there, and that's a league that they should win running away with, in my opinion. But it was a very, very quiet night on Twitter and the message boards after you couldn't even open Twitter when we played down there without seeing some snarkiness from the Yellow Buzzards of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. This upcoming weekend is going to be one that tells the tale of the season, in my opinion. Mississippi State has played so far in SEC play a road series at Arkansas and a home series versus Vanderbilt. Now, at Arkansas, you end up playing a doubleheader on Saturday. You drop the Friday night game. You blow them out in the first game on Saturday. And then you turn around and play again on that third game, and you kind of get run away with there with Arkansas taking the series from you. I really think playing a doubleheader there hurt more so than if we had played on Sunday. If we played on Sunday instead of a doubleheader, I feel like we have a really good chance to win that series. But then you come home and you get a major sweep of Vanderbilt, another talented team, and now you go on the road to Oxford to face number 18 Ole Miss. And not the only rivalry series this weekend. This just seems like rivalry weekend for whatever reason. But it will be three really good games in front of three great crowds. Will it be Mississippi State level crowds? No. But make no mistake, Ole Miss will have 10 to 12, 13,000 there as well for each game. And it will be a great atmosphere for college baseball. Now, all time, Mississippi State is 268 and 213 versus Ole Miss, 6-4 in the last 10. And we last lost a series to Ole Miss in 2024 in Oxford. But before that loss in 2024, Mississippi State had not lost a series to Ole Miss since 2015. So entering this weekend, Mississippi State is coming in at 21-4 on the season overall. They are 4-2 in conference, like I mentioned, losing the series at Arkansas, sweeping Vandy. Ole Miss is 19-7 coming into this weekend, and they are 3-3 in conference. So this is a pivotal weekend for the Ole Miss Rebels. It feels like it's a big weekend because if Mississippi State were to pull off the series, you're giving Ole Miss a 3-5 or a 4-5 SEC record. if Mississippi State's able to sweep this series, you're effectively putting Ole Miss in a hole that could be hard to climb out of on a tough SEC schedule that they have. So we already talked about Tuesday night, Mississippi State coming off the absolute destruction of the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. Ole Miss is coming off of a pretty embarrassing loss to 6-16 Memphis, where they just had 4 hits and they lost the game 6-2. So not a midweek misstep that you expect to see, especially from a team like Ole Miss. They are one that usually handles their business, but just 4 hits against a bad, bad, bad Memphis Tigers ball club. Just an off night, really bad loss for Ole Miss on that RPI there. Friday night should be electric. Last weekend against Vanderbilt, we lost Ryan McPherson in the third or fourth inning due to some arm tightness, and he is obviously out for this weekend until he gets back healthy. We don't know what's going to happen. The question that everyone has had the entire week has been, what is Brian O'Connor and Justin Parker going to do with the rotation? You've had Ryan McPherson on Friday, Mas Malinkas on Saturday, and Duke Stone on Sunday. So the thought was, do you move Valinkas up to Friday and Stone up to Saturday, and then just piece it together on Sunday? What does all that look like? Well, Mississippi State announced the rotation either, I believe, Wednesday, and they have decided to go with Charlie Foster on Friday night. 0-0 record, 5.1 ERA. Charlie Foster, left-handed sophomore, showed flashes as a true freshman last season, which ultimately led to him being pulled or starting in the rotation to start this season. However, was pulled for Duke Stone in that Sunday spot, and Duke Stone has held that spot down pretty well over the last few weeks. So Charlie Foster will pitch on Friday, and we're going to leave Valinkas and Duke Stone in their normal spots. I like that move because we're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend. Next weekend, Easter weekend, we're going to play Georgia on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So you really wouldn't want to move Valinkas up 2 weeks in a row. And I get he is in a rhythm. He is pitching probably better than anybody else in the conference right now. And so I like not messing with his rhythm or his timing as far as when he's getting to pitch and what amount of rest he has. I really do like that. I also like that move because Ole Miss struggles versus lefties. And it's going to be a tough game Friday night. If Charlie Foster pitches the way he has, we're in trouble. But, like Chris Billingsley, Foster's made state fans hold their breath every time he touches the ball. He's had control issues as well. But this is a huge opportunity for him to prove that he does have a place in this rotation or could be the first person out of the pen. We have to have him. We don't have a choice. He's got to be able to pitch for us. And I like, with Ole Miss's struggles against lefties, him on Friday and then lefty Thomas Valinkas on Saturday. So the hope there is, with their struggles, you can grab those first 2 games and lock that series down before you head into Sunday. Now, it's going to be tough for our hitters on Friday night. Hunter Elliott is pitching for Ole Miss. Surprised everybody when he announced he was coming back for this season. He is moving up the strikeout record list for Ole Miss, chasing Drew Pomeranz, and he might get it by the end of the season. Pitching very, very well. Same guy he's always been. It's going to be tough to put up runs on him. But I like Mississippi State's lineup. I don't think Mississippi State is going to be shut down too terribly by him. It's ultimately, for me, going to rest on how Charlie Foster pitches. You have to have a good outing from him. He's got to give you 5 or 6 innings in this ball game, I feel like, to give State a chance to hold down that Ole Miss lineup. Now, for Ole Miss, in their lineup, there's 3 guys we need to watch. Tristan Bacetta is probably their best hitter without a doubt. Batting 384 on the season, 14 home runs, 38 RBIs, 12 walks to 32 Ks. So, yes, he hits a lot of home runs. He also strikes out a good bit. So, hopefully, Charlie Foster can get that wipeout pitch on Bacetta there. Judd Utermark, batting 312, 10 home runs, 26 RBIs, 20 walks to 30 Ks. Another guy that strikes out a lot. And then you have Dom Decker batting 232, 5 home runs and 10 RBIs. Just a guy that gets on base. Absolutely gets on base. He is actually ranked third in the SEC and 11th in all of college baseball in walks, averaging over 1 walk per game. So he knows the strike zone, and we're going to have to pitch to him to hit. Bacetta is ranked second in the SEC in home runs and total bases, and top 4 in every other hitting category. And then Judd Utermark is fourth in the SEC in runs scored and ninth in home runs. So a great weekend series upcoming in Oxford in front of 3 what should be large crowds. They are going to be rowdy. They're going to be ready to play. They kind of have a different level of attention whenever Mississippi State comes to town. So it should be a great weekend of baseball. I think for Mississippi State, it's going to be all about the pitching. We need another good outing from Valinkas. We're going to see what happens with Charlie Foster on Friday, but Chris Billingsley pitched well on Tuesday. If Charlie Foster can do the same and get right there, that just adds another piece to an already national championship contending team in Mississippi State. So I cannot wait to see what happens in Oxford this weekend. Hopefully, we will come out of this weekend. If we were to win the series 2-1, that would put Mississippi State at a 6-3 SEC record as you go into a series with Georgia and then Southern or South Carolina right after that. So would be well in the driver's seat to have a solid SEC record moving forward there before 2 very tough weekends to round out the SEC season there. Switching to softball real quick. Softball beat UT Martin on Wednesday 7-0. They are now 30-6 on the season overall. However, they are 2-4 in conference play. You win one on a walk-off home run against Tennessee here at home, and you ultimately lose that series 2-1. And then you go to Georgia where you lose that series 2-1 as well. Mississippi State playing number 23 South Carolina this weekend. Mississippi State desperately needs either a sweep. You desperately need a sweep, or you want a sweep, but you absolutely must have a series win right here, or you are in a serious hole when it comes to conference play. And that 30-6 record isn't going to mean much if you're 3-7 in conference play, 3-8 in conference play. So really need to see a turnaround for the Bulldogs softball team when it comes to conference play. Hopefully that will get started this weekend. But a great weekend on deck for the ball clubs on the Diamonds, and we will see what happens there. Cannot wait. We'll be back with you to recap the action as we round out the weekend and move into Easter week. Easter week coming up. Thank you for joining the neighborhood tonight. Like, subscribe, share, comment, and let us hear from you. Hail State.